Okay, so I'm 90 pounds down now. I'm 810 plus days doing carnivore. And the real reason that I've been able to manage and maintain this lifestyle is not what you think. So stick around because I'm going to give you the reasons why I've been able to continue and move forward with this. And remember, guys, down below in the show notes, you're going to find the link to my 7 foods that you need to get out of the kitchen right now to start this. Very important. So stay tuned. Let's dive into this. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Frank, what I was doing and how I got here. So today I'm 56 years old. As I said, I'm down 90 pounds. I'm 800 plus days on this lifestyle now. I no longer consider myself a dieter because this is just the way I live. I'm not going to ever change that. I've got 4 boys and 3 of them are either married or on their way. I've got 1 boy that's got 2 boys himself, so I'm a grandpa. And I've got a 16-year-old at home, which keeps us pretty active. My life is full. It's great. And my wife and I have been together for almost 40 years now and raised all 4 boys together. 2.5 years ago, I was chronically sick. I had a slew of issues. Most of them were medicated. Probably not unlike what you guys are dealing with right now. Blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, gout, bursitis, arthritis, psoriasis, fatty liver. It was bad. Sleep apnea. I just didn't understand. I was an active guy. I was busy. I just had a brand new baby when I was 40 years old, and I couldn't have been worse in my 40s. And I feel terrible because my older kids got the best of me, got the best dad ever. And my little guy, he got the worst. And there's nothing I can do about that now. There's nothing I can do about the way I wasn't able to show up. Things broke. My body was breaking. I was taking a lot of medications and it was just downhill all through my 40s. And I feel bad. I can't do anything about the past, but moving forward, I can do a lot. And I am doing a lot. And I'm changing and I've changed. The active lifestyle that I had living on a homestead, I've been on my homestead now for 10 years. I came out of a big house in town and decided that we were going to move into the country, and it was an adjustment. Now, I grew up on a farm. I was a very active kid, and I did hay, and we had cows, and we had horses, and we had pigs and goats, and I mean, we had it all. We had a very small hobby farm, but we had every animal there. I didn't have a choice. My dad worked full time, and I had to help. And I was the only other boy in the house. So it was on me to feed and manage and maintain as often as I could if I wasn't doing homework, stuff like that. Me staying on this diet for 800 plus days has to be the simplest thing I've ever done. 2.5 years. How can you stay clean that long? When you get your body to a point where you no longer eat food for the taste, you only eat it because you know you need the fuel. You no longer have to worry about your next meal because you already know in advance what your next meal is going to be. It's going to be beef. So let's talk about my daily, okay? So because I'm getting all these people that are saying, and even my family, there's no way, and then when they come to the house and I make the big pot of spaghetti for them and I eat the ground beef without the sauce and no pasta and they eat the other stuff. Listen, you can't fix anybody but yourself. You have to worry about what's going in there and not worry about what's going in theirs. Fix you, and then by example, you will start to fix them, because I'm finding now that this is what's starting to happen. My family is now watching me like a hawk. They're watching what I'm eating. They're waiting for me to mess up. And guess what? It never happens. I never eat the junk. I don't eat the fast food. I don't eat the vegetables, the carbs, the sugars, the starches. I don't eat it. If it didn't have a heartbeat, it doesn't go in my mouth. That's it. I want to talk about your decision fatigue that's going on in your mind. And this goes back to the beginning of the video. How is it possible that you can stay this clean for this long? So I didn't let the decision of my meals become a problem for me because, listen, There is so many cookbooks now, and you can get overwhelmed in this journey. And like any other diet industry, it can become overwhelming. And now there's apps and there's all sorts of recipes. You can make carnivore bread, you can make carnivore pizza, you can make carnivore tacos. I mean, listen, it goes on and on and on. And I understand that, because it's like any other culture in the diet world. As it continues to gain momentum, it just continues to grow, and that's what eventually will happen. But what I'm here to tell you is that the reason why I've been able to manage this for over 800 days is because I didn't let that fatigue of making decisions on my meals get in my head. And I'll give you an example of how this works in the real world. So you're in your car and you're driving off to a destination, whether it's a work event or it's a friend's cottage or something like that. And you are unknown to the route. And it's a brand new route for you, and you come to a T in the road. And you have to turn left or you have to turn right. You can't go straight because it's a cliff and you don't know which way to go. And in the car with you, you've got 3 other passengers, and they're all laughing and having fun because they expect you to get to that destination. And the radio's turned up and they're all singing, and you're trying to make a decision on where you're supposed to go right now, but you're lost. You don't know what you're doing. So that decision fatigue gets ramped up in your mind. And what do? You tell everybody to shut up, and then you turn down the radio so that you can make a decision on where you're going to go and what you're going to do. And those recipes and these cookbooks that are now available in the carnivore space is the radio and your friends singing to the songs. It's making your decision-making power completely fatigued, and you don't know what to do. So you scream at them, shut up, and you turn off the radio. And what do? You make the decision. Now, let's go to 3 months from now, 4 months from now, and you've driven that route to that destination 50 more times. You've been there, you know it. You know the route, you know where to turn left and where to turn right, and you come to the T in the road, you don't even have to signal anymore. The radio's turned up, everybody's singing, you're carrying on. You don't even have to worry about making that decision. It's easy because you've done it. The simplicity of the continuous driving of that route has made your decision fatigue gone. So now it's easy to introduce another route. You can make a wrong turn and you can correct yourself really fast. You know where you are. Even if you're lost now, you know where you are because you've been to the destination already. So you know. So then you turn up the radio. So when you've been on this carnivore journey and you have eliminated the issues and you've gotten your health back and you've gotten rid of the medication and you've started to drop the weight and your insulin resistance is converting over to fat adapted, now you can take a recipe book and get excited. Because what I did, I'll tell you what I did. I introduced carnivore pancakes. And carnivore pancakes, if you've never had them, is all egg. And it's phenomenal. I don't even know how to explain these things to you, but I literally sat down the first time I had them. I ate 16 eggs in an hour, and I had no idea. I had no syrup. I had no honey, just butter on top of them. And man, they were absolutely beautiful. And it was like I was eating for the first time, because at that point, all I had eaten was ground beef, eggs, butter, and once every couple of days or 3 days, I'd have a steak, not a ribeye, maybe a ribeye once every couple of weeks, but I just couldn't afford to slap ribeye on the plate every day. So, you know, a steak of some sort. And I'm the guy that can eat whether it's well done or whether it's rare. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I can eat them bleeding. So I'm lucky that way. So when I ate the carnivore pancakes, it was like I had eaten pancakes for the first time. I could not even tell you how excited I was. I was smiling and couldn't believe how good they were and thought to myself, I cannot wait to do that again. And that was probably, now I've been 800 plus days on this. Can I tell you how many times I've had carnivore pancakes? Twice. In this entire time that I've been doing this, I've done it twice because it doesn't draw me to it. It was an excitement. So don't let the decision fatigue get in your mind. Don't get off the road until you know your route. And once you know your route, turn up the radio and have a good time, because then you already know the destination. So another thing I want to talk to you about is what was harder for me when I first got on to this diet. The fact that I've been able to go this long, and I'm not a doctor, just so you understand. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a psychologist. I've been able to pull this off and make this work as a regular guy. Must say something to you about the simplicity of it. It's not complicated. I didn't make it complicated. I didn't allow it to get complicated. I stayed focused on my meal. That was it, my meal every day. I did that for almost 16 months. That was it. Once it was all reversed, first time I talked to my doctor, he was shocked. Couldn't believe it. Everything was looking just fantastic. Frank, he says, I need to know what you're doing. What's going on? And I told him, I said, to be honest with you, I'm kind of nervous to tell you what I'm doing. I said, but I will if you want me to. I don't care. And I said, I'm eating a carnivore lifestyle, carnivore diet. And he says, wow. He says, listen, if you can manage it and maintain it, you better keep doing it because it's changing you. Whatever you had going on before is gone. So my doctor was absolutely floored. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that I had gone from the way I was to the way I was now in a year. And what a nice feeling it was. So based on the fact that I was dealing with what I was dealing with, is it possible that the carnivore lifestyle in the most of simplest ways could fix the problem that I had or the problems that I had? Could my carnivore lifestyle fix it? And in the simplest of answers, yes, it did. It fixed everything. Now, we're not perfect. None of us are. We're going to vary. We're going to have that problem in our mind where we're going to start to get that decision fatigue and we're going to start to think about other things. And the food noise is a real problem for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're vegetarian or whether you're carnivore or whether you're standard American diet. It doesn't matter. The food noise, when you get called into the gas station because you need a receipt and the receipt didn't get printed at the pump when you pumped it, and that's the whole reason why you don't go into the gas station, because you know that there's an entire tray or rack of chocolate bars. And then you turn to your right and there's another full rack of chips. And you know that that food noise is calling you. And that's one of the hardest things. So is it simple? Yes. You have to remember that if you let the decision fatigue set in and the food noise set in, no, it's not simple. But the food that you eat in this lifestyle, yes, it is. But if you allow for the recipes and the cookbooks to become part of your life in the early stages, you're adding fatigue into one of the most difficult decisions that you've ever made in regards to your food. Because it can be easy to eat this way if you know exactly what you're going to eat every day. But if you have to add things in, if you have to add variety, if you have to add an ingredient list, if you have to build your menu, it becomes more and more difficult every single time. And Big Food knows this. Every single restaurant that you drive by, every single fast food joint that you drive by on your way to work and on your way home and on your way to take the kids to school, they know that you're tired of making decisions. They know that if we make it cheap enough, and if we make it tasty enough, it doesn't matter what it's doing to your body. If you're already stressed out about what you're going to eat that day, you're going to stop and you're going to eat it. And that's the part of the decision fatigue that you just don't want to have set in the early stages of your carnivore lifestyle. So don't do it. Keep it simple. It's the KISS program. Keep it simple, silly. The simpler that you make it, the easier it will be. And everybody around me all says the same thing when they see me eating. Is that all you're going to eat? Yeah, and I'm going to eat a lot of it because it's the only one I'm having today. So guess what? If I have to eat 2 pounds of ground, I will. So what does the carnivore journey look like for you? The first thing you have to do is get down there to my list and get the 7 foods. Comment, fix, or click the link. I don't care. Get the 7 foods that you need to eliminate now. That is how this starts. Keep it simple. I'm not saying to keep the recipe books and the cookbooks out of your life. That will come eventually. But remember the road? Once you know the route, then add those in. add in those different routes. Don't add it in if you're not ready. If you're not ready to turn up the radio, don't do it. Don't sing to the song until you know the words to the song. Okay? And for a reason of simplicity, boring is best. Boring in this life is best when you start. Switch it up. If you can afford to go all ribeye all the time, do it. If you can afford to have tomahawks every day, do it. Add in some eggs, some bacon. There's lots of fat on those steaks, but listen, if the steak is your king, the fat is your queen. You can't win the game if you don't have your king and your queen, and you need them both. So, simplicity, turn the radio down until you're ready. Don't add the recipes in until you're fixed. Until you know the words to that song, don't add anything into your life until you're ready to do it. Don't get lost in the minutia of the recipes that are out there. They're always going to be there. A year from now, 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. They're going to be there. There's probably going to be double or triple what there are today. And today there is book after book that's coming out in regards to carnivore recipes. It is growing in leaps and bounds. And it's great because the more people that get into this journey, the better. The more people that tell people that this will change their lives, the better it's going to be. If we could put those freaking fast food joints out of business, it would be a good day. Are you kidding me? Like, if we could stop this, if the government literally, listen, I'm not going to go into that. That's a different video. Okay, so I want to close, but I got a couple of more things I want to say here. So I've told you what this means for you. You got to keep it simple. And no, I'm not on Ozempic. No, I'm not taking a GLP-1 of some sort. I'm actually going to start doing some exercise here, but I'm not really overly concerned about it because I feel absolutely great. And going back to the original part when I was talking about my son, my little guy, and how he didn't get the best dad because I was so unhealthy and I was so sick and couldn't do the things that I wanted to do with him. I couldn't, throw a baseball because of my shoulder. There was just so much that I couldn't do. And today it's totally opposite. I am so involved. I have gotten my life back. This lifestyle has given me my life back. It has given me my health. It has given me my energy. It has given me full day energy. I don't think about food anymore. I don't think about hunger pains. I don't have any. I eat until I'm full and then I don't eat again that day. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about OMAD and 2MAD in the next video because that's, I've after this kind of time now on this, the evolution of it is OMAD. It just happens. And you actually have to really concentrate on eating because you don't really feel hungry through the day. And then you know that you have to eat. So if you could get to that point, if you could get midway through your day and not even have food on your head, then, you're moving in the right direction because that's ultimately what OMAD does for you. So, when I first started in this, I was eating a lot. I was eating, probably 2.5 pounds of ground a day, probably a dozen eggs. I mean, I was eating a lot because I was always hungry and I was going through dumping of my oxalates from the veggies and my sugars and my carbs were washing out and I was dehydrated because I was losing water like crazy, which also takes out all of your electrolytes. Listen, I mean, the water and the salt and the electrolytes when you first start, we're going to talk about that too in another video because while it's easy for me to manage because I'm able to watch my menu just stay the same. I don't even have to think about the menu now. But the other thing is when you first start into this journey, and it's almost to the point where I have forgotten how hard it was at the beginning because it's such a short window of issues that you deal with because everybody's gone through what you're about to go through. But the longer that you stay within this community and in this journey, the less you remember about what you went through at the beginning of this process. And at the beginning of the process, it's all about the food noise. It's all about the decision fatigue. It's all about trying to pick a menu item and stick with that and not knowing if it's going to be the right one. And you're going to make mistakes and you're going to go on and off this. And I know people really close to me have gone on and off this for the last two 2.5 years that I've been doing it. And they always just think, oh, you're lucky because you've been able to stick with it. But I mean, ultimately, it wasn't about sticking with it. It was about simplicity at the beginning. So chicken, fish, the roasted chickens, I have those once a week. Like, that's huge. You got to trust the process here. Keep it simple and trust the process, because if you stick with it, it will work. Short periods turn into long periods. Don't turn up the radio until you're ready. Don't deviate off of your menu item until you're ready. Don't introduce anything until you're ready. Fix your body. That's the whole reason for these videos, is to help you. So remember, trust the process. Trust what your body is saying to you, and please trust the one who made it. And as always, if you fix your food, you fix your life.